Hello, math nerds. This is Math 0028, section 2.7 You Try Problems. So, on this section, we were dividing polynomials by a monomial, which is one term on the bottom. So what you have to do is take each term on the top in the numerator and divide it by the term in the denominator. Now, I am going to be lazy, just like normal, and just put the term that's on the bottom underneath each term so that they line up instead of writing it all over again. So look at the first term. You're going to do two things. Divide the coefficients, subtract the exponents. So 9 divided by -3 is -3, and then when we subtract the exponents, 6 minus 1 is x to the fifth. Now on the second term we have two negatives, so a -6 divided by -3 is +2. And subtract the exponents, 4 minus 1 is x to the third. And on the last term, a -3 divided by -3, that's +1, or you can think about the fact they just cancel out. And then subtract the x's, 2 minus 1 is going to be a positive, because the two negatives make it positive x. And that's your answer for letter A. Now on letter B, I've got 11ab squared underneath those three terms on top, so I'm going to put 11ab squared underneath each term. Alright, so on the first term, 22 divided by 11 is 2. A squared, if we subtract the exponents there, minus a to the first, is just going to be a. Now here's the tricky part. On the b, I've got a 1 on top, minus 2, that's going to give me b to the -1, which means that has to go to the bottom under the 2a. So the first term ends up being a fraction, okay? Plus, in the middle term, I've got 11 divided by 11, those cancel. A over a, those cancel. But now subtract the b's, so you have 1 minus 2 is going to be b to the -1. So the only thing I have left in that middle term is b to the -1, which means it also has to go to the bottom, 1 over b. Alright, and then the last term I have minus, bring down your minus sign, 33 divided by 11 is going to be 3, and the a's cancel out, and the b squares also cancel out. So my last term is just -3. Now, you don't have to do anything else to that. Even though the two denominators on the first two terms are the same, you leave it as 3 separate terms. So that would be your final answer there. Okay, on C, I have again 3 terms on top. One thing to check for, if you think that something's going to cancel out to nothing and that there's nothing left, that's not ever going to happen. It'll cancel to 1. And so what you need to make sure, if you have 3 terms on the top of your problem, there better be 3 terms in your answer. 5 terms on top, 5 in the answer. 18 terms on top, 18 in the answer. A gazillion terms on top, a gazillion in the answer. Okay? So we're going to put -4ab squared underneath each term here. Okay? So 16 divided by -4 is going to be -4. You can subtract the a's. That's going to just give me a. And on the b, 1 minus 2, I'm just going to write it here so I can see it, b to the -1. That means that has to go to the bottom to become b to the first. Okay, now -20 divided by -4, that's going to be a +5. Okay. The a's are going to cancel out. Now subtract the b's again. 1 minus 2 is going to give you b to the -1. So that's got to go to the bottom to become positive. And the last term, 24 divided by -4, is going to be -6. The a's cancel, and the b squares also cancel. So you just have -6 there as your last term. Alright, here's D. I think this is the last one. This is the end of the U tries for chapter 2. Woohoo! I am free for one day. So I'm going to put negative 3x squared up underneath all three terms. This one is not going to be pretty. Who writes this garbage? Alright, so the first term, just look at the whole thing. Negative 3x squared divided by negative 3x squared. That whole thing cancels out to 1. If you don't have the 1 there, it is wrong. So make sure you have 1. Then on the second term, we have 7 over negative 3. So you can't do anything with 7/3. But what you want to do is just use the minus sign there, because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And you're going to keep 7/3 because you can't do anything with that fraction. But now subtract your x's. 1 minus 2 is x to the negative 1, which means that x has to go to the bottom to become positive. So we have 7 over 3x. And then the last term, this one's kind of weird also. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 is going to be a positive 2. But now look at the x squared. It's on the bottom. There's no x on the numerator to divide it with. It's not a negative 2 on the bottom. It's already a positive 2. So guess what? You leave it alone, but you have to keep it on the bottom there. So if it's not a negative exponent, or there's not another x to subtract it from, you don't mess with it. You only mess with what needs to be messed with. And that one does not, that x squared is not going anywhere. Okay? So all that mess there, that would be your final answer for letter D. And that should be it for chapter 2 or section 2.7. Have a great day.